It was Sunday. I borrowed my wife's car to buy 2 new garden chairs. I was listening to This American Life on NPR and wanted to write down the name of a book they were talking about on the air. With one hand on the wheel, I rummaged through the center console box with the other, searching for the CD case with the pen. I pulled out everything in sight: a Bit-O honey wrapper, a folded Starbucks cup sleeve, a quarter, a folding comb, a hard ring with a soft center. Nothing else looked like a condom wrapper. I almost ran off the road. Moments like that stick in your mind as if they happen in super slow motion, frame by frame. You look to your left and see a red Toyota next to you, driven by a fat, red-haired guy with an earring. The speedometer frozen at 34 miles per hour. The dust on the dashboard. The light ahead that you know will stay green. The squashed bug on the lower part of the windshield. The protrusions on the CD case scratching your wrist. The moment when you touch the unexpected. Thoughts are harder to organize. Even though you knew it was impossible, you still believed. Is this mine? You believed, is she cheating on you? Thoughts aren't as clear and distinct as images. Was guilt for stumbling upon a dark secret your main thought? Was it fear? Was it because you did something wrong? I pulled into Burger King and bought a medium Coke. I parked in front of the Burger King Customers Only sign and held the Coke in my right hand and the condom in my left. I blinked. I always blink. Everyone always blinks. But this time I noticed that I had blinked. The Coke tasted like nothing but fizz and too much ice. I checked the glove compartment. I checked the trunk. I opened the doors and looked under the seats. I found a small package wrapped in a plastic supermarket bag tucked under the passenger seat where it was hidden unless you looked closely. Inside the bag was a notebook, a small spiral-bound notebook. My heart pounded in my chest as I opened it. The first 2 pages were blank. The next 2 had lists. I counted 32 entries covering 4 months and made it intervals of 4 to 5 days. The last entry was for the next day, tomorrow. August 29th, HY 1:30. One of the entries was crossed out. If I had found this notebook under different circumstances, I probably wouldn't have noticed the lists or thought about their meaning. I recognized the pattern. It was a schedule of my business trips. I recognized the crossed-out date, when I had gotten sick and had to stay home. The condom told me what to believe. Tomorrow at 1:30 at the Holiday Inn, when I'm usually 200 kilometers away from home. I hoped I was wrong, but the condom said no. Okay. Let's assume she's cheating on you. It's been 4 months. This isn't a one-time thing. She's seriously cheating on you. She's keeping a damn list. You're going to lose her. You don't need her. She's trash. You love her. You need to talk to her. You don't want to deal with this. How are you going to find another one? I shook my head, closed my eyes, and realized I was lost. What if she's a whore? What if she's running a side business, but why would she hide it? What if she's in love with someone else? What if it's a woman? I scratched the back of my head. Not knowing anything else, I didn't know how to talk to her. What would she say? I'm sorry, honey. I didn't want you to find out. Oh, God, forgive me, I'm leaving you. I made a terrible mistake. I'm being blackmailed. I have to sleep with strange men. I don't want to lose you. It's all your fault for leaving me alone. I believed you were cheating on me and wanted revenge. She could have said anything. I found out you're infertile, so I slept with your brother to get pregnant. I'm infertile and don't know it? Why not go all the way? I'm a vampire and I meet strange men in hotels to drink their blood. I'm a secret agent, and what I do is classified, but I want you to know, dear, that I'm only doing this for my country. I put the condom and notebook back where I found them. When you're really upset, the lower part of your face droops toward the ground, as if gravity is pulling it down harder. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to believe. I had read enough about infidelity to know that a woman might have an affair because she was unhappy, which meant that maybe it was partly my fault. My self-esteem didn't collapse. My life wasn't over. I felt pain, anger, sadness, confusion, and in the darkness of those hours, I seriously wondered if I had chosen the wrong path in life, if I was the wrong person, if I needed to change to become someone else. That evening, I pretended everything was fine. When Sherry tried to talk about the book she was reading, I told her I was focused on work, that I had a tough week ahead of me and couldn't shake my anxiety. "Sorry, honey, I'm a little lost in my thoughts." She went to the bedroom to read. I washed the dishes. I started the laundry and busied myself until she fell asleep. In the morning, I got dressed quickly, left the house, and made some business calls from my car. By 10 a.m., I was at the local Holiday Inn. It's an old hotel, the kind where you can park next to your room instead of going through the lobby. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I don't know how to lie. I have a compulsive need to tell the truth. I like to share information. It usually works in my job because I tell people what I know, and it either helps them genuinely connect with me or they treat me well to learn more. I hope it's the former, but I stopped believing long ago that business contacts are real friends. "Hello," I said to the receptionist. "I believe my wife is meeting someone here at 1:30. He barely reacted. "I believe she's having an affair. I want to see who she's with." He looked skeptical. "I just want to look at the security cameras." "I can't do that, sir. With all due respect, you could be crazy. This hotel is responsible for its guests, not you. You could try to harm this woman, and I don't even know if she's your wife." That's right. My first boss taught me that when you do something new, when you enter new territory, you need to give yourself extra time because nothing ever goes as planned. If my life were a detective novel, I would have slipped him $20. But I'm not a tough guy. I'm a negotiator and a manager, and I'm very good at both. We talked to the manager, and he quickly realized that it would be better for the hotel if I watched the monitors in his presence, where he could see what I was doing. If I left, I could watch from outside, and he couldn't prevent me from doing something crazy. The hotel would still be sued, so the best way to minimize the risk was to keep me in sight. I like it when the parties come to an agreement and both get what they want. I bought us lunch at Subway, a classic tuna sandwich for myself and one with chicken, bacon, and ranch dressing for him, parked across the street and returned to the hotel. We watched the local news at noon. I shared the information with him, told him about the notebook and the condom. He told me about his family, his nephew who was in prison, his father's bad heart. We ate our sandwiches and talked about calories and fat and diets. He had tried the Atkins diet. We agreed that the hardest part was not gaining the weight back. We quickly became friends who would never meet again. She arrived at 1:25 p.m. She sat in her car near the rear entrance, furthest from the street. I could see her clearly on the monitor, talking on the phone. She hung up and fixed her hair in the rearview mirror. At 1:33, a blue BMW pulled up next to her car. A tall man with brown hair got out and walked toward the hotel door. He swiped his room key, opened the door, and looked back at my wife. Sherry opened her car door, glanced in the mirror one last time, got out, and walked toward the man. As she passed him, he put his arm around her waist and pulled her close. The door closed. I have never used the word cuckold. Not in conversation, not in reference to any man whose wife has cheated on him. The word has never existed in my mind. It comes from the word cuckoo, which lays its eggs in another bird's nest so that the other bird will hatch and raise the cuckoo chick, which then grows larger than the other chicks and takes over. As far as I knew, Sherry wasn't pregnant, so I wasn't raising a cuckoo's egg, but I still felt like a cuckold. At best, she was seeing a guy I didn't know, someone she met at the gym or through friends, someone she had a casual fling with that eventually became more serious, but perhaps just ran its course and was never based on love. It's not hard to understand the concept of a fling. We've all been tempted. You can recover from a fling. With work and time, after you acknowledge your pain and understand the reasons behind it, you can commit to a relationship again. The worst-case scenario would be that she slept with my worst enemy. That would be a betrayal that says, I want to hurt you so much that you feel like the dirt I wipe off my shoes. That's impossible to recover from. It's like a knife stabbed in your back and piercing your heart. In the worst case, you start to doubt your ability to judge correctly, that you are attracted to snakes, or that you were deceived by this Delilah who whispered in your ear, plotting your downfall. This was not the best or the worst case. It was an average case, not with a stranger or an enemy. The average case is complicated because it involves two betrayals: the betrayal of your wife and the betrayal of another man. If the other man is your golf buddy or some Joe who is just the husband of one of your wife's friends, then his betrayal is worthless. He's just another jerk. If the other guy is your father or brother, a close relative, then his betrayal may be worse than hers. A wife is not blood. I can beat my brother half to death, but in the end, I'll probably stay with the blood and leave the woman. A wife can be replaced. She slept with my best friend. I saw them on the security camera anticipating sex. She slept with my best friend. Tom betrayed our friendship with my wife. He was the best man at my wedding, and at his wedding, I shared that role with his younger brother. I had known Sherry for 4.5 years, but I had known Tom for 20 since I was 7. He knew what Sherry meant to me. He knew what marriage, commitment, and trust meant to me. It hurt. My new friend, the hotel manager, understood that. We shook hands, and our friendship would never be weakened by petty misunderstandings and would never be strengthened by late-night drinking and basketball. I crossed the street, got in my car, and drove to the golf course. I hit 2 big buckets of balls. By the middle of the second bucket, my mid-irons were flying perfectly. My wooden clubs were crisp. I hit my 4-iron, absolutely crushed it. I held my swing, watching the ball fly, enjoying the moment of perfection. Golf is a damn difficult game, enlivened by moments of absolute clarity. In the heat of the moment, I called Tom at home. "Hey, Peg, how's it going?" "Great. I'm coming home a little early and thought you might like to have dinner together." "When?" "Tonight, tomorrow. Whatever works for you." "Okay. So why not tonight?" "No. I think we should go out." "Okay. Sure. 7 at Ciro's is fine. Yeah. Bye." I crushed that phone like a 4-iron. I called home and left a message. "Honey, I'm coming home early today, so I called Peg and arranged to meet them at Ciro's at 7. I'll call you on your cell." I left the same message on her cell. I got home at 6. Sherry was in the shower. Her gym bag was open on the floor. I couldn't resist looking inside. Nothing. I took out her underwear and smoothed it out, looking for stains. Nothing. "Hey, baby," I called through the bathroom door. "I need to take a shower, too." "I'll be out in a minute." It dawned on me. This could be the last time I could have sex with her before everything came out. Whatever happened next, things would never be the same between us. I took off my clothes, went in, opened the shower door, stepped in, and gently hugged her. "Baby, this feels so good," I whispered in her ear. "I love you," she cried. That was what I wanted to hear. After that scene, I had no doubt that Sherry loved me. She was passionate, involved, living in the moment. She resisted a little. I remembered why I had married her and didn't know what to do anymore. The main courses were served, but even during the appetizers, I realized I wasn't hungry. My emotions were consuming me. Tom was acting normal, as was Sherry. There was a genuine closeness between the 4 of us. My wife, my best friend, and my best friend's wife. Sherry put her hand on my leg. She was very affectionate. Every glance she gave me was full of intimacy. She radiated satisfaction. Tom was enthusiastically eating pasta. Sherry and Peg were eating and chatting. I stared at the chicken and mindlessly twirled a piece of zucchini. The moment had come. Now was the time. For what? For what? "I have a question," I said. "Something's been bothering me." Sherry took my hand again. "Go ahead, ask," Tom said. "What would you do if you found out your best friend was cheating on you?" There was a short pause. What would you do if your wife was cheating on you with your best friend? Another pause. Seriously, if it happened to you, what would you do? I felt Sherry's hand go still. I continued as if everything was perfectly normal. It's happening to someone I know. He told me, and I started to believe him. You're my best friend. If you found out I was cheating on you with Peg, what would you do? Would it hurt more because it was me? Or would you forgive me? Who would you blame? I paused. Just curious. Witty answers only happen in stories. Tom slowly shook his head. Sherry looked down at her plate. Peg was stunned. At that moment, I decided to finish him off. I asked you that question because you're sleeping with Sherry, and I was wondering if I should beat you half to death or what. I squeezed Sherry's hand tightly. I turned to her. And you, my dear, should I throw your fickle ass out on the street or just file for divorce and leave peacefully? The lack of response killed them. I know Peg. She knew that Tom would have jumped on me if I had made fun of him. If I had joked, he would have said, I'd be grateful if I were you that Sherry finally found a real man, or something like that. Some kind of response showing that we were friends who teased each other. He took too long to respond, and Peg knew it. And in an instant, Tom realized he'd screwed up, that Peg had read his reaction. He knew there was no point in covering it up. We need to talk, he began. It's not what you think. But before he could finish, Peg hit him hard across the face. It was another one of those moments when time slows down. I started to enjoy it. I remembered the school bus crashing into the garage, and it seemed like the open black mouth widened in slow motion. I remembered Tom and I talking in his bathroom about the girls we liked. I saw us playing ball and fighting with the Cowell twins behind the oak tree. I heard the endless arguments all at once about who was the best runner, how to unhook a bra, whether it was better to be a Formula One driver or a movie star. You're a fucking bastard, damn fucking bastard. Peg hit him again, this time with both hands. She pushed him, and he cringed. I was still holding Sherry's hand. She froze. Peg jumped out of the stall, grabbed her purse, spun on her heels, and quickly left. I was calm. Mind paying the bill? I asked Tom. You can keep the change. I stood up and turned to my wife. Coming, honey? Sherry slipped out of the stall and followed me to the car. The first words Sherry uttered were, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Nice. You're sorry you got caught? Sorry you hurt me. I was getting angry. Sorry you ruined our marriage? Sorry you hurt one of your best friends? Sorry you destroyed my oldest friendship? Sorry for what? What exactly are you sorry for? Sherry cried, not hard, but sincerely. Tears streamed down her cheeks. I kept driving. She started to speak, but I raised my hand to stop her. She pressed her palm to her forehead and closed her eyes. She was sobbing. I stopped the car. You can get out now, I said. She looked out the window. I was in front of her parents' house. No, she said almost in a moan. Get out! Get out, or I'll throw you out! I tapped the steering wheel. Suddenly I shouted, Get out! I didn't look at her as I drove away. When I got home, I planned to pour myself a strong drink and watch TV until I fell asleep. But instead, I broke down. I opened Sherry's closet and stared at her clothes. I started ripping hangers off the rod, scratching buttons, trying to tear the seams. I went to the kitchen and came back with a kitchen knife and a large glass of Dewar's whiskey. I stabbed her clothes with the knife, plunging it into the fabric, cutting and tearing. I got drunk. I lit a fire in the fireplace and threw our wedding album into it. I gathered up a handful of her underwear and threw each piece into the fire, watching it burn. Then I sat down in an armchair and watched a classic football game on ESPN until I fell asleep. Those were agonizing hours. That period of time when every moment is filled with meaning and none of it is good. I was crushed. I felt drawn to the dark side. Now I could understand why people commit suicide, why jealous lovers kill those they love. I realized that on the other side of love lies anger that is just as deep. Morning brought calm. The house was clean except for the bedroom, where pieces of Sherry's clothes were scattered around her closet. I left them where they were. In the fireplace, I saw the charred remains of our wedding album, straps and clasps from burned bras, and a tie from a nightshirt. My mind was blank. I was no longer angry. I took a shower. As the water ran down my body, I remembered making love to Sherry last night. It became clear to me that my life had changed forever. I wondered why it didn't matter more to me. What are you going to do? That can be a small question or a big question. I've gotten used to turning big questions that have no answer into small ones by breaking them down into pieces I can handle. Go back to Sherry? Big question. When and how do I see Sherry? Small question. What do I do about Tom? Big question. When do I see Tom? Small question. I called Tom on his cell phone. He answered, which surprised me because I was sure he had seen my number on the display. "I'm really sorry," he said. "Explain." "It just happened. It was just flirting, nothing more. And then one day I ran into her at the mall, came over to your place, and it just happened." "How long?" "I know how long. I just want you to confirm it." "Almost 5 months." I could tell he wanted to say something else, so I waited. "We didn't want you to find out, or Peg. We couldn't stop." At that moment, I knew exactly what I was going to do. "I don't want to see you anymore. Our friendship is over. I don't care what happens between you and Peg. You're completely out of my life. You don't exist. You're gone. Goodbye." And I hung up. The moment Tom told me with complete sincerity that he never wanted to hurt me, I knew he was telling the truth, that he had given in to weakness, that he had gone down the wrong path in the darkness. Fuck him. Fuck him. To hell with a friend who betrays a friend. He sold me out. He ran away when my life was in danger. He watched me drown and didn't call for help. Did you believe that regret matters? Did you believe that Fredo didn't regret betraying Michael? I'm willing to bet Judas regretted it too. You think I'll forgive you because I'm not your enemy? You can't betray your enemies. You can't betray your enemies. You were my best friend, and you slept with my wife, so go to hell. You betrayed me. You sold me out. Go to hell, you bastard. You mean nothing to me now. I drove to Sherry's parents' house. I didn't call ahead. Her father answered the door. He looked sad and a little scared. "How's it going?" I asked. He stepped out onto the porch, closing the door behind him. He sighed. "She told us. You know she loves you. You know that, right? I can see that you know." He shook his head again. "What a stupid bitch. Can you believe I'm calling my own daughter a bitch? Stupid. She's stupid. I can't believe I'm saying this about my own daughter, but she's stupid, 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 stupid." I understood. He was talking incoherently, but he knew exactly what he was saying. Sherry had made a mistake, a big mistake, but it was just a mistake. With work and time, we could get through this. Bitch. Stupid. Call her names, but forget about it. Will you let me in? That idiot is in the kitchen. I didn't know what to say until I sat down at the kitchen table. Sherry was pale, her eyes puffy. Her mother stood off to the side. Her father was sipping water from a glass. I drummed my fingers on my knee for a few seconds. "Here's what I'm going to do." Sherry nodded. "I'm divorcing you. Period. I'm not even going to discuss saving our marriage." Sherry looked the way I had felt the day before. "You betrayed me. You betrayed our marriage. You betrayed what I believed in as a person. I don't want to be married to you." She swallowed and began to cry. I wasn't moved. "You've caused me unspeakable pain. I don't believe you'll ever understand what you've done to me. I know you love me. Do you hear me? I know you love me. That's why I'm divorcing you. Because I want to hurt you. I want to hurt you badly. You love me. You lost me. Live with that." She made an animal sound. It's scary how similar the sounds we make when we're in pain are to the sounds we make when we're in pleasure. Here's what I'm going to do. Are you listening? Sherry didn't answer. Are you listening? She nodded her head in agreement. After the divorce is final, after the divorce is final, and not a minute sooner. If you're a good girl, we can start dating. Sherry looked at me, her face a mask of sadness and pain. I once loved you. I'll give you a chance to make me love you again. I'm not coming back. This marriage is over. It's in the past. If you want me, you'll have to win me back. That's the only way I'll deal with you. Sherry nodded. She bit her lip. Her lips formed the word, yes. I'm done with Tom. He was my friend, and he betrayed me. That's unforgivable. If you see him, if you talk to him, you'll be with him, not me. That's how it will be. Friends don't betray friends. He's not my friend. During the divorce, I hardly spoke to Sherry. We sold the apartment, and Sherry moved in with her parents, and I rented an apartment. I saw her father 3 or 4 times. We spoke superficially. I didn't ask about Sherry, but our encounters made it clear that the deal was still on. Raising an eyebrow, he mentioned that I had destroyed her clothes. I told him she was lucky she wasn't home. He understood. I always liked him. The divorce was finalized 4 months later, a little less than the length of Sherry's affair with Tom. Peg called me twice in the days after the restaurant scene. I waited outside her house until I saw that she had left, then left her a message saying that Tom was out of my life for good, and so was she. I told Peg that I was divorcing Sherry and that I would be ready to start over only if she didn't contact Tom or her. She never called again. I found out from friends that they were seeing a therapist. I didn't want to be around when the divorce was finalized, so I went on an adventure vacation to hike and climb mountains in Chile. I had a great time. The physical exertion completely cleared my mind. Sherry left a message on my work voicemail asking to talk. I called her from the taxi that was taking me home from the airport. "Hi," I said. "Are you still interested?" The experience of cheating and divorce had made me more direct. "I thought you'd call. I just got back to town. Are we going to do this or what?" "Can we talk?" "When? Where? What are you doing this afternoon? Want to meet for a drink?" "Anywhere but Cairo's." She waited in the cab with a glass of water in front of her. I got in. We looked at each other. I nodded. I didn't waste any words. "Are we going to sniff each other out? Do you have something to say? Is this what you want?" "I want this." "What? What do you want?" "You're not giving me much of a chance, are you?" I believed she might break down. She closed her eyes for a moment. "Should I say I'm sorry? Tell me what to do." I tugged at my ponytail, smiled to myself, leaned forward and said, "You have to make me fall in love with you. You've done it once before. It's good and bad. I mean, I know most of your tricks. So you might have to try a little harder, but on the other hand, you know a lot about what I like, so you have the advantage." I looked at her, and the challenge was as obvious in my eyes as it was in my words. With absolute sincerity, she said, "How can I make you trust me?" "Wow." I pursed my lips as if deep in thought. "Wow. This is our first date. Trust has to be earned. Trust has to be deserved." I played my best card. "I know you've had issues with cheating in the past, and to be honest, I have some issues with being cheated on. But you know," I raised my hand and placed it on the table, "it's funny how life works. Let's see how things go." Sherry fell silent. I could see she believed me. I waited. "I'm not as easy as you've probably heard," she said. "Really? I heard you were easy." "No," she shook her head. "I'm looking for a serious relationship. If you just want sex, I'm not the girl for you." I raised an eyebrow. She tilted her head, holding her water glass with both hands. "Do you like how I'm dressed?" She raised her hand, pointing to her blouse and skirt. I just bought it. My ex-husband tore all my clothes. I had to buy a new wardrobe. Very nice. They look good on you. Your ex sounds like a real jerk. Her eyes narrowed slightly. I guess he didn't like my clothes. She leaned toward me. You know, he had one good quality. Only one? More than one. But this one was very important. What was it? I leaned forward. He was a great kisser. We were almost touching. I can't be interested in a guy who can't kiss at least that well. She tilted her head. We were inches apart. I just couldn't. The words hung in the air as our lips met. A good kiss on a first date. We lingered in that space. Then Sherry leaned back and stretched. I did the same. She smiled, and her eyes sparkled. This, she said, is going to be so much fun. Tom, I called to my colleague, I need to talk to you. Are you free for lunch? I don't know, Nick, Tom replied. I have a few things to finish before the evening. It's on me, I told him. I need some advice, buddy. If you're paying, he smiled, then I'm free. I knew it wasn't about the cost or the money, but that if I was offering to pay, it meant I had a serious problem. Tom was one of those good guys, a person you could rely on, one of your own, so to speak. Okay, he was also a womanizer, and a pretty successful one at that, but he didn't brag about it, so the others didn't envy him. He was something of a folk hero. No, that's too strong, but you know what I mean. Is 1:30 okay for you? I asked. Sure, he replied. See you in the parking lot. I breathed a deep sigh of relief. Finally, I had someone I could talk to about my problem and who might be able to help me find a solution. A few hours later, we were sitting there enjoying steak and fries and had already emptied half of our first mugs of Directors, the best beer from the Courage Brewery. So what's the problem, Nick? He asked before putting a delicious piece of pie in his mouth. How can I help you? It's a little awkward, Tom, I began, washing down a juicy piece of pie with a sip of beer. But we all know you're pretty good with women. Don't believe everything you hear, Nick, he smiled modestly. I'm doing fine, I'm single, I have a good job and a nice car, you know that. Maybe it helps that your family owns half the county. Much less than half, Nick, he smiled back. But that doesn't hurt. Okay, I admitted. But I need some advice, buddy. I need to talk to someone who isn't stuck in a family life yet. But you're married, Tom, he said, giving me a few disapproving looks. You don't want to get involved in something you'll regret later. Trust me, buddy. It may seem like being free and independent is great, but if I had the chance to come home to a beautiful wife every night, I wouldn't think twice about giving it up. I heard, Tom, I replied, that you have someone in mind. God, Nick, he laughed. Can't you keep a secret? I just heard it in the office, I admitted. Maybe that's true, he continued. But that's my business, and you seem to have your own. Take my advice, Nick. Don't get involved in extramarital affairs. They never do any good and only lead to tears. Actually, Tom, I replied, it's not me. Not you? No. Then who are we talking about? My wife. What? Who? My wife, I replied. I only have one. You mean your wife? Oh, shit. He leaned back in his chair, realizing what my problem was. But how can I help you, Nick? He asked, putting down his knife and fork to focus on my problems. I don't even know your wife. I've never seen her. She didn't come to the Christmas party, I agreed sadly. But what can I do to help you, buddy? He asked, leaning forward as if to comfort me. I don't approve of cheating, Nick. I've never been married myself, but my brother's wife had an affair, and it almost destroyed him. It's not easy for me, I sighed. Not since I found out. But how can I help you, Nick? He repeated. I admit I have a knack with women, but I don't see how I can help you. Well, there is something you could do, Tom, I said hopefully. Anything, buddy, he offered. How can I help? Well, I began, hesitating before continuing, you could stop sleeping with her. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out except a vague click. The next few minutes were a little tense, as I expected. I sat quietly while Tom realized what I had said, and, more importantly, what it meant. Stop sleeping with her? He asked nervously. Yes. Please, Tom, I replied simply. With your wife? Yes. But I'm only seeing one girl right now, Nick. Her name is Heather. Heather Jones, I confirmed. My wife, Tom. Heather Jones, he confirmed, nodding distractedly. Nick Jones and Heather Jones, I pointed out the obvious. We're married. For 7 years. She didn't tell me, Tom said with difficulty. She wouldn't have, I confirmed. She told me she was getting divorced, Nick, he continued, shaking his head in disbelief. She said her husband had run off to the Isle of Wight with some girl to join some kind of art commune. I haven't been there since I was a kid, I told him, and I can't paint. So you're not getting divorced? As far as I know, Tom, no. At least not yet, unless she's done it without telling me. Are you still together? He asked, frowning. I'm afraid we haven't even separated, Tom, I had to tell him. We're still happily living together. Last night we slept together and even had a little sex. You slept with her? You slept with Heather? I'm afraid so. But... I'm sorry I slept with your girlfriend, Tom, I told him. I'm sorry I slept with your wife, Nick, he replied. But I don't understand how this could have happened. No, honestly, Tom. He misunderstood my comment. Why did she do this? From what I heard when she was talking to her sister on the phone, you're not enough for her. I'm sorry, Nick. It's okay, Tom, I reassured him. You were born that way. It's not your fault. We sat there, chatting, finishing the potato pie and drinking beer. We consoled each other, and he was even more upset than I was. It turned out that he had even brought up marriage, and Heather had more or less agreed, so perhaps the divorce she hadn't dared tell me about was closer than I thought. What should we do, Nick? Tom finally asked, on the verge of despair. An hour ago, I was in love with her, and now I hate that bitch. Join the club, I invited him. We could play with her feelings a little, make her angry and leave her with nothing. How? He asked, getting carried away with the idea before I could explain my plan. You set the wedding date as soon as her divorce is finalized, I explained my plan. She'll ask for a divorce right away, and I'll agree, but on terms that are favorable to me. And when the divorce is finalized, we'll both dump that stupid bitch. But do you think she'll agree to your terms? Tom asked. With your additional assets waiting for her, what does she care what I have? She'll agree to anything I offer to get out of the marriage as quickly as possible. But then I'll have to keep seeing her, he said. I'm not sure I can. Heather's great in bed, isn't she? I guess so. Then what's the problem? if that's the case. Then there isn't, he agreed thoughtfully. But right now, I need a woman I can have feelings for, Nick. Sure, I can sleep with a cheater like Heather for a while, but I need to find a replacement for her. What about that new girl in accounting? I asked, pretending I'd noticed her by accident and hadn't spent more time there than usual. Which one? Blonde or redhead? He asked, perking up a bit and confirming that his obsession with Heather hadn't completely extinguished his legendary hunting instinct. Both. Both. Yes, Tom, I confirmed. One for you, one for me. Which one do you want? The blonde with big breasts or the redhead with endless legs? I reminded him. I don't care. That works for me. He laughed and ordered more beer for both of us. Cheers, I raised my full mug. To the future. Cheers, Nick, he replied. I think I'll go with the breasts, if you don't mind. I'm more than happy with the legs, Tom, I happily confirmed. I can't wait to feel them wrapped around me. Well, not exactly like that, of course, but everything went according to plan. Tom married Mary, the blonde with the big breasts, and now she's part of the local elite and very happy too. I'm now engaged to Sandy. No, not the one with the legs, her sister. She has legs too, of course, but... Damn, I'm talking nonsense. You know what I mean? You've probably guessed that Heather didn't fare too well, but then again, she's not my problem anymore, right?